Back on the SportsMax Zone, Lionel Messi wants out of Barcelona. The 33-year-old has reportedly told club bosses that he wants to move on 20 years after joining the famed La Masia Academy. Messi has won everything at Barcelona and is the club's all-time leading scorer. He is also the top marksman in the history of La Liga. His intention to leave comes amid reports that Barcelona are planning a major overhaul following a trophyless campaign which ended with an 8-2 humiliation at the hands of the eventual Champions League winners Bayern Munich. Now, it is understood that the new Barca boss, Ronald Koeman, has told a handful of players, Luis Suarez, Ivan Rakitic, Arturo Vidal and Samuel Umtiti, that they are not in his plans for the next season. Joining us to talk about this developing story, our Latin American football expert, Diario and Diario sports correspondent, Juan G. Arango. Juan, welcome to the SportsMax Zone. This is a tremendous story we're following. We heard murmurs in the past week or so, but it seems pretty serious. How seriously are you taking it?
Well, so serious that I actually have the letter that Lionel Messi gave to the Barcelona board earlier today via a burofax, which is a certified letter via fax that they usually use in Spain. On behalf of with this present letter, I, Lionel Andres Messi Cucitini, with ID number blanked out, solicit that my contract be dissolved because with this distinguished club separating me based on the clause number 24 in my contract that allows me to be able to use this faculty. I appreciate all the opportunities and personal growth and professional preparation that you have offered me during my time as a worker here. My lessons learned have allowed me to consolidate my tech continue in the best direction for this club. Attentively, Lionel Andres Messi Cucitini.
So is there anything in that letter that you just read that tells you that he's open for discussion?
Absolutely none. And actually the group that's right now, his entourage, if you will, have also said, you know what? There's no way back. There's no turning back. And it's all been a byproduct of the discussion he had with Ronald Koeman. The rumors have been that Koeman told him, quote unquote, your privileges are done here.
When we were assessing this story last week, Juan, the SportsMax Zone team that is, we assessed that Barcelona, come hell or high water, would not allow Lionel Messi to leave. It seems based on what you're saying that there's nothing they can do about it now, based on what you're hearing.
Well, things have changed. And of course, the way that things have been treated with Barcelona and certain players, saying that players like Jordi Alba, like Luis Suarez, like Arturo Vidal, not that they weren't expendable, it's in the way in which it was handled. Messi starts seeing it and says, you know what, 2, 3, 4 years down the road, that could be me. Especially with a 1-minute conversation with a coach that just came in a day and a half before with Luis Suarez. Ronald Koeman comes in and says, hey, by the way, Luis, we don't need you very much. Cling, hung up. A 1-minute conversation with your third all-time leading goal scorer, with a player that's won absolutely everything at that club. Lionel Messi sees that. He's also seen in the lessons of the past how other idols have been treated. Samuel Eto'o, Ronaldinho, even Johan Cruyff, Pep Guardiola, how they were treated as players and some even as coaches on the way out at Barcelona, and said, you know, I don't want that to happen to me. And it's the way that some of the players have been treated in the past few days. That was pretty much the straw that broke the camel's back.
All of these things rolled into one, Juan Arango. Would they have happened? Meaning the statements that have been made by Koeman about how he intends to house clean, the 60-second telephone conversation with Luis Suarez, the frank statement to Messi that your privileges are done here. Would those things have happened if Lionel Messi was 30 years old?
Well, for starters, it didn't. But then again, at that point, you didn't have a coach that had that type of personality. I mean, let's be honest.
Well, the point I'm stopping at, my friend, is this. Yeah. Lionel Messi at 33, coming off the things that have happened to Barcelona recently, that's fine. But I'm saying, if all those things were constant, if all those things did happen, but Messi the man was 30 years old rather than 33, long in the tooth, and when you get older, your teeth get longer, that's a fact. If Messi was 30, would Koeman coming in have the balls to say what he would say now? Or would he still try to massage Messi, to take time with handling Suarez, given the relationship between Messi and Suarez, and take care of what he would say to the great man?
I think at 30, you would definitely be taking care of him, to be taking care of that nucleus of that team, because they were still productive. Obviously, the results tend to start showing a lot of the cracks that have developed. You start to see also the lack of leadership that there was institutionally, that are giving a coach like Ronald Koeman that type of power all of a sudden ends up being a bit of a backlash in terms of some of the leadership of the players. And that's one of the big problems when you start to see these types of players at this age to say, hey, what happened now? And not only that, okay, we're gone. How do I contend with what you're trying to offer me? Barcelona has no money in the coffers. Barcelona have very few options in terms of who they can bring in. And also, you start seeing who is able to replace Barcelona right now with the team that they have right now in certain key positions, at left back, at forward, who is able to come in and replace him and still afford and still provide a competitive level of performance.
But I want to get some agreement on something with you, my friend. You are deep into it. You work for Diario Sport, a Barcelona-based Spanish sports daily. So here's the thing. I'm saying my theory, looking from afar, further than you, is this. Because Lionel Messi, some within the club may say, well, Messi's powers are waning. The magic is slowly ebbing away at 33 years old. We don't have to stand and allow him to dictate as we would have 3 years ago and as we would have years before. So because we think Messi's powers are waning, we can move on his best friend. We can have the coach be as abrupt as he was with Messi in conversation, because maybe he doesn't have much to offer us in the future. I'm thinking that is a large part of why we are here having this discussion.
I would agree with that, because maybe there's some in the Barcelona board, and it came out today as well. There was a few interviews. Toni Freixa, who's one of the presidential candidates, Joan Laporta, who was actually a former Barcelona president who ran back in 2015. Many have come out and said, you know what? To me, this seems like some type of sabotage. Sabotage is a bit of a harsh word, but it's what ends up translating into. That some board members at Barcelona, although not wanting to come out publicly and saying it, they definitely want Messi out of the picture. And they've been able to achieve that by what they were able to do today.
Question for you. I already see, if it is that Barcelona decides to resist Messi's request, an argument being framed around the expiration of the clause that Messi's facts, which you just read, seeks to lean on. They're saying, well, the clause for you to leave on a free transfer, that expired in May, and that Messi's lawyers are prepared to say, well, this is not an ordinary football season. Were it an ordinary football season, May would have been the expiration date, but we went on for longer because of COVID, and so that has to be considered in that way. Is that, you in your estimation, where this argument will revolve if indeed Barca tries to fight Messi's desire to leave?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's two different situations. If Messi, in this situation that we find ourselves in with the coronavirus pandemic, stopping football, if he on May 31st, under those circumstances, would have said, "Guys, it's been a pleasure. See you later. Goodbye," how bad would he have looked? 10 games left in the season. Barcelona, top of the table in the heat of a La Liga race, with a possibility, let's not kid ourselves, they were still in the hunt for the league title. They were still in the hunt for the Champions League. For him to just drop the team and go somewhere else. So that also comes through. They're waiting, and again, Messi's entourage and Messi's lawyers, Messi's team is saying that because of that, you start to look at what FIFA has been able to do and trying to give some type of a reprieve in terms of those contracts. Well, then our contract or that clause should still be active by August 31st. That's the big problem that's going to be. That's going to lead to a lot of legal problems on both ends, because both of these particular camps are going to go tooth and nail to try and find out which team is going to come out on top. Because honestly, right now, Barcelona, I think they recently just said that 222 million euros is going to be the asking price for Leo Messi. Doesn't that number sound familiar, George?
Yeah, absolutely so. Neymar, yeah, there you go.
222 million for Leo Messi. If you start looking at it and what people are starting to, pop out their calculators and mortgage calculators and whatever type of calculators you have, that's going to be something interesting to look at in terms of teams that are going to be able or willing to be able to pony up that type of cash.
Yeah. Juan, one of the things we discussed last week when this story surfaced first was Bartomeu, the Barcelona president, and the fact that obviously Lionel Messi was in conflict with him and would want to see him out. These recent developments now suggesting to me that Bartomeu is probably tightening his grip as president, and it's more Messi that's losing.
It's more that I just don't want to deal with it anymore. Number one, Bartomeu changed the elections to consolidate himself in power until the very last possible day that he could be in office. Changing it from June to March, that helps him to have a really easy type of transition into power. Wait until the very last day for the new president to come in and start to impose their policies. But more importantly, it also forces him to be able to not resign. So right there, he consolidates his power a lot more, using the statutes within the Barcelona club. And more importantly, the only option that is on the table for him to be able to resign comes in October when the budgets are reported, the 2019-2020 budget and the 2020-2021 budget is going to be approved. If those numbers don't end up being to the approval and end up being approved by the Barca board, there's a possibility that could be the only way that Bartomeu resigns. But at that point, it could be too late because Messi could be somewhere else. So he ends up kind of having a win-win situation. He doesn't have to resign. He doesn't have to do much, but he's also fighting for the interest of the club, for the best interest of my club and for my colors. And he's trying to save face with the worst person you could possibly want to save face alongside.
You know, Juan, a player of Messi's stature, and given what he is given to Barcelona, and of course what the club has given to him from age 13, we all know that story, and 10 La Liga titles, 4 Champions League crowns later, and so much more. I'm wondering how is it, I'm a bit surprised, and you can inform us here. Is it that Messi doesn't have the strength of relationship at the board level to, in this situation, use his contacts at the board level to get Bartomeu out or to stir up an uprising within the Barcelona support, the members, because of course the club has a different ownership structure than England per se, where it's a rich man who owns the club or a government, as in the case of Manchester City or PSG, Qatar owns PSG. Isn't there enough for Messi to have gone another way if he really wanted to stay at the club, to engineer upheaval at the boardroom level through his contacts to get rid of Bartomeu, and if those board members couldn't do it by themselves, to spark an uprising among Barcelona's rank and file members and owners and regular supporters who want him to stay, to get the man out that way and move on? Why is that so difficult to contemplate? Or is it that Messi doesn't have that strength of relationship with key people on the Barcelona board?
He has key people, but I don't think you want to go too political in a very, very political club. Let's just be completely honest with the whole situation. Barcelona, I don't know if there's a team as politically inclined as that one, and the influences there. Yeah, Messi's friends with many, but Messi also right now has found himself with a lot of opposition, with a lot of support for Bartomeu. Although, like I said before, they don't come out publicly and mention it. It is very true that there are many of the board members at Barcelona wanting Messi out. They know that he has been one of those that has come out and openly criticized not just the board. He's also come out and criticized the coaches. He's come out and criticized the way that the team has been able to find players, bring in players. The sporting director, he was at odds with a former teammate of his, Eric Abidal, who just recently was given the sack as well. So there's a lot of things that Messi can have an influence in, but at the same time, with Messi, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. If you end up creating an uprising. Oh, look at the influence that Messi has. But if you don't, oh well, Messi has no influence at all. So he has to also find that happy medium where, as a player, as the captain of the team, he can only do so much. He can only find so much power, so much influence within a board in a political setting, without it interfering in a way that it could really tarnish his legacy as a player. It could tarnish his legacy within the club structure, and it could also pretty much tarnish his standing within Catalan culture as well.
Yeah, look, my producer says the time is up one, but there are two things I have to ask you, and I'm going to ask you. One, Ronald Koeman coming into the club, effectively going down in history as the coach who helped to get rid of Messi. How does his bond with supporters work from this point into the new season?
Man, that's a good question. And we'll have to see based on results. If he gets good results, he's the idol that won the very first Champions League for them, and that's how he came in. If results don't come their way, he could be gone by Christmas.
Secondly, which club with the ability to pay Messi's wages, with the space to take him, who will win that race? The Italians want him international. We know PSG can buy him with the chum change on the cushion in the sofa. We know Man City can buy him as well. Where does he go?
God, that is such a good question. Like I said, Inter can go and find money in China. They've already they've gone to people like Jack Ma and the Chinese Communist Party to be able to invest money in the club. PSG with Neymar would be a good option, but it'd be a bit romantic to see if Pep and Messi hook back together and be able to win another Champions League. So I mean, I would say Man City, just based on the challenge of the league. But I could also see him over at PSG, as that would be probably that little oomph that they need to get over the top next year.
Rosario Central, Newell's Old Boys, look out. Thank you very much, Juan Arango. All the best to you.
Care,
as usual, Diario Sports, Juan Arango, no stranger to the SportsMax family, SportsMax Zone show, an extended part of the family Juan Arango is. And Lance, nobody can say they didn't see this coming. From the start of the season, from the fallout with Eric Abidal, the noises Messi made at the start of the season, a rotten season where they threw away La Liga, they got humiliated in the Champions League. This was always on the cards. The big man wants out. And at 33, there are many people who believes that he has done all he can for Barcelona and they don't mind seeing him go. That's a large part of the reason, I believe, why he has said what he has said and why many at Barcelona are not sad to see him leave. We leave now because we have to. We take a break.